Hey there, you're watching Go Island, where I've put away my umbrella because the sun is kind of starting to shine, and we're going to be talking about breast cancer research.
Aaron Vissia Financial Go Island is brought to you by Aaron Vissia Financial.
Well, hello there, you are watching Go Island, and we are out here in the kind of sort of sunshine at Harbour Key, and I'm with Cheryl Shermack, who describes herself more as a palliative care researcher than a breast cancer researcher, but you're going to be fascinated by what she has to tell us about. Cheryl, wonderful seeing you here today.
Nice to see you.
Now, you were telling me before the camera went on that there's actually a new kind of breast cancer that has been identified.
Indeed. We're finding in healthcare, because I work in healthcare and I'm also a researcher, we're finding that there's more chronic forms of advanced cancers, including breast cancer, meaning that you may have a diagnosis that traditionally may have been end stage, but you might live for many, many years with a chronic illness, like it's kind of arthritis or something.
Okay, this just blows me away because I know I've always thought of breast cancer as either being short-term, you're cured, you're in remission, or it's much more serious than that, but you're saying there is a third kind that you just live with.
Well, there is a third kind. But it is a part of that end part, but we're seeing new forms of it. So it is a kind of cancer. Breast cancer has moved out of the breast to some other site in the body, and it's something where you will not find a cure for it. However, you might live up to 10, 15 years with it as a chronic illness.
This is fascinating. So that means that the treatment of this kind of cancer would be different.
Potentially. There's some confusion as to how exactly to treat this kind of cancer and who is keeping track of these women in terms of the best kind of care provided for them. And it's really something that's still, up in the air, and there's lots of different ways it can go in terms of who's following you. Like, for example, may women only see a GP? They may only be into BC Cancer once a year, once every 2-3 years. It's really wide open right now.
Which is where you step in with your research, I'm guessing.
Yes, exactly. And a curiosity about these kinds of women.
Cheryl, this is fascinating, and you've stumbled on a great area to do some research in. I know we've got lots more to talk about in a few minutes, but first we're going to follow Jose Araujo as he takes in the annual Rotary Wine Festival. A nice Shiraz, hey? Well, I'm a Merlot woman myself. Now, we're still here at Harbour Key talking about a much more serious topic, research into chronic breast cancer, which is something that is brand new to me. And Cheryl, you are doing a particular research project on this.
I am. I'm doing a doctoral degree at the University of Victoria, housed out of nursing, but it's interdisciplinary. And in that degree, I have to do a research project. And that project is on experiences of women who are living with metastatic breast cancer in a chronic form and in a small community like Port Alberni.
Which is why Cheryl is on Go Island today, because you're looking for subjects to take part in your research project.
I am. We're looking for 10 to 12 women, or there's also men who have this condition, who are living in Port Alberni, Qualicum, or Parksville, and can identify that they've had a diagnosis of metastatic or advanced breast cancer for at least 2 years, and they've been living with it for over 2 years and living with it relatively well, which is kind of a judgment call, but...
And we're talking about chronic metastatic cancer, but this may not be something that the doctors have ever identified to them as chronic. Am I correct?
Exactly. The language I'm using is brand new, and it's something where it's not used consistently. And in fact, it's a very good point, because a lot of women, they may think they have one kind of cancer, and it might be something else entirely. It gets to be a point where when you're diagnosed with a stage 4 breast cancer, the stories you're told are very different. And so we're looking for women who have had a diagnosis of advanced or stage 4 or terminal or end stage breast cancer, and they've been living with it for more than 2 years. And so that's the bit that's a bit more clear. So it's a non-curative kind of breast cancer, but it's something where it may not feel non-curative at the time. It might just feel like something like a really bad arthritis, or it might feel like you've got a bit of bone pain. It's not something that you're living with as a end stage or a palliative condition.
Wow. So this is a whole new way of thinking about breast cancer. It might be a whole new way to think about your own condition if you are one of these women or men that Cheryl is describing. Now, we're going to be back in just a minute. We're going to tell you how to contact Cheryl and what you can expect from this research project if you do identify yourself as someone who would like to take part. But first, we're going to head off to Nanaimo, where the clock team is once again racing against the clock. Well, welcome back. You are still watching Go Island. We are still here in the kind of sort of sunshine at Harbour Quay talking with Cheryl Shermack about her research into chronic metastasized breast cancer. And Cheryl, you are looking for, you said 10 to 12 women?
Yes, we're looking for 10 to 12 women in the Pearl Alberni Valley or Qualicum, Parksville.
Excellent. And these are individuals who have self-identified. If they do contact you, first of all, how do they contact you?
They can contact me by phone or email. Unfortunately, the phone number I have is long distance from Pearl Alberni. It's 1-250-886-4691. Or they can contact me via my UVic email, which is shermack@uvic.ca. So that's SSHERM as in Mary, A, K as in kangaroo, at uvic.ca.
And if somebody does contact you, what can they expect? What will their role be in this research?
Good point. This is part of a new kind of quality of research where it is very participant driven. So the general format is that we might do a couple interviews, and those interviews will vary in length and style given on participants' needs and their own health status. And there could be a couple interviews. There might also be a chance that if people want to, they can write a small journal about, or write a story about what they've been living with the last few years with their health condition. That's an option. Another option is women or men can share different objects or artifacts that speak to their experiences. For example, some people have been part of the Run for the Cure. They bring that as a signifier of the kinds of stories and experiences they've had. So it's really wide open. So it's something we can talk about, and it's something that would involve no more than probably 3-4 hours of someone's time over a month or two time period.
Excellent. Now, this is research into quality of life. This isn't research that is looking for a cure for cancer. This is about quality of life, and it strikes me that just the very participation would be something very empowering for people going through this process, because it does recognize the struggle that they're going through.
I would agree. We have identified that there probably is that piece of empowerment where it's an opportunity for women to talk about something where there's not a lot of opportunity to out in the general community, and there's no support groups specific for women living with metastatic breast cancer in this area. So it is a chance to talk about a condition that you might just not be able to talk to over coffee. So it is something that definitely is an opportunity in that. Also, I'm a trained psychosocial oncologist, so it is someone who is familiar with the field, and I have family members with the condition. So it is something where it is a bit of an opportunity to get those things out in the air.
Well, I know it sounds like it will be a very powerful experience. Thank you so much for telling us about it today.
Right, you're welcome. Thank you.
Now, we are almost at the end of Go Island, but before we do, we've got one more story for you, and you know what? It's about a pet peeve of mine. I don't often get angry when I'm driving, but let me tell you, when I see someone texting and driving, it makes me crazy. Well, that does bring us to the end of another Go Island. If you are one of those folks who is living with chronic metastasized breast cancer, please do contact Cheryl. It sounds like a very empowering project that I think everybody would benefit from who takes part in it. Now, until we meet again, pay attention when you're driving.
Aaron Vissia Financial Go Island is brought to you by Aaron Vissia Financial, supporting community and providing personalized advice and service to clients since 1996. Our team is ready to help you with your financial future.